everyone, this is Faye at CSN Chicago News. Unionized teachers at Chicago charter schools are set to begin voting Monday on a plan to join the Chicago's teacher union, a merger that would alter the politics of the city education system by bullying the independently operated schools under the direct influence of a powerful labor group that has sought to limit charter expansion. A successful merger could also generate fresh political pressure on Mayor Rahm Emanuel's administration and allied education reformists, who have prized charter's independence from union influence. The outcome of this week's ballot isn't expected to be announced for several days. The Chicago Teachers Union must still vote on the deal. An effort officials said is not likely to occur until the fall. If approved, teachers at each unionized charter network will still operate under separate contracts negotiated with each charter operator in entirely different legal territory from the one that set rules for how and when city youth teachers can strike. U.S. employers pulled back on hiring in May by adding only 138,000 jobs. Hiring was still enough to help keep pushing unemployment lower. The Labor Department said Friday that the unemployment rate fell to 4.3% from 4.4%. But the rate declined mainly because people stopped looking for work last month and so were no longer counted as unemployed. The government's report suggests that 8 years into the recovery from the Great Recession, job growth may be slowing after a long period of robust gains. Besides the hiring pullback in May, the government on Friday revised down its estimate of job growth in March and April by a combined 66,000. Job gains have averaged 121,000 over the past 3 months, compared with an average of 181,000 over the past 12 months. Employers are now choosing from among a small pool of job applicants, and some are having trouble finding people with the skills they need. Average hourly earnings have risen a middling 2.5% over the past year. One day in the near future, your face or your finger will be all the identification you need to board a plane. The airline industry has begun testing the idea of using biometrics, facial recognition, rental scans, and fingerprints to identify flyers as a way to boost security and make life easier for travelers. JetBlue Airways announced that it will begin to use facial recognition technology this month to verify the identity of passengers boarding flights between Boston Logan International Airport and Queen Beatrix International Airport in Aruba. Last week, Delta Airlines began letting members of its Royalty Reward program use their fingerprints as ID to enter the Delta Sky Club at the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. If the test program goes well, the Atlanta-based airline said it plans to use fingerprints to let passengers check a bag or board a flight. Under the JetBlue program, customers step in front of a camera that matches their image with passport or visa photos in the U.S. Customs and Border Protection database. A screen above the camera will notify flyers when they are clear to board a plane. Travel experts say such tests will help move the industry toward a time when fingerprints, facial recognition technology, and other biometrics will replace boarding passes, passports, and driver's licenses as identification at airports. Chicago developer has struck a deal to buy a row of long-empty State Street buildings from the federal government with plans to convert them to 429 apartments and retail space. CA Ventures plans a $141 million redevelopment of the buildings in the 200 block of South State Street near the Dixon U.S. Courthouse, according to a news release from Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office. The deal could breathe new life into a rundown stretch of the State Street shopping corridor where the federally owned structures have long sat vacant. CA Ventures has a $10.38 million agreement to buy the buildings pending approval by the General Services Administration and the Chicago City Council, according to the city. The deal is expected to be finalized by this summer. If it gains zoning approval to start the project, CA would pay $4.38 million into the city's Neighborhood Opportunity Fund and $5.65 million into the Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund, according to the news release. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
云天无际，承载梦想。中国南方航空是中国运输飞机最多、航线网络最发达、年客运量最大的航空公司。亚洲第一，全球第三，是南航缔造的业界奇迹。 蓝天壮志情，云海谱华章。
专业的团队，丰厚的经验。
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to the Lake Cook Law Group.
投资理财、法律咨询，芝加哥专业律师团队为您的梦想提供最安全的保障。
Moving on to Cuba, a series of celebrations marking 170 years of Chinese presence in Cuba are undergoing. Channel Report takes a look.
The week-long celebration marks the arrival of Cuba's first Chinese immigrants in 1847 with a ship from Guangzhou, the capital of South China's Guangdong province. Ma Peihua, vice chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee, says Cuba was the first country in Latin America and the Western Hemisphere to establish relations with the new China. He says the two countries have overcome challenges in changing international situations, and its peoples have reaped a deep friendship. Guillermo Chui, retired Army general of Chinese descent, says this date has great significance because it reaffirms that after 170 years, Chinese community has a prominent participation in the Cuban society. To know more about the history of that period, an exhibition of paintings inaugurated this week in Havana is a good choice. The exhibition, entitled An Imaginary Journey, is made up of 27 paintings in mixed technique by the Cuban painter Uber Solis.
Uber
Solis is a granddaughter of one of the China's first consuls who came to our island. We can see her Chinese and African origin from her works.
China on Saturday decided to posthumously honor late geophysicist Huang Danian as a sincere patriot and a role model for returned overseas Chinese. Channel Report has more.
According to a statement issued by the Overseas Chinese Affairs Office of the State Council, returned overseas Chinese and people who work for overseas Chinese affairs should take Huang as their role model. Huang, known for his expertise in deep earth exploration technology, studied and worked in Britain for 18 years before returning to China in 2009. Over the ensuing years, he helped China soar in a number of technical fields, transforming the nation into one of the world's leaders in deep earth exploration. Huang died from illness at age 58 on January the 8th. The statement urged learning from Huang's patriotism as well as a spirit of serving the country, diligence, and professional dedication.
U.S. space firm SpaceX has launched supplies to the International Space Station, including an experiment from a Chinese university that will test the effects of space environments on DNA. Meanwhile, it also marks the first time that SpaceX launched a Dragon capsule that has already flown before. Channel Report has more.
The SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft lifted off on the company's Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Saturday night. The Dragon is packed with almost 2,700 kilograms of supplies, including solar panels, tools for Earth observation, and equipment to study neutron stars. Among the cargo is a 3.5-kilogram device from the Beijing Institute of Technology that'll test the effects of space environment on DNA. The mission marks SpaceX's 11th cargo delivery for NASA and the 100th SpaceX launch overall. It was also the first time SpaceX launched a Dragon capsule that has already flown before.
Spain's State Secretary for Commerce says the country is keen to expand cooperation with China under the Belt and Road Initiative, especially for infrastructure projects.
Marisa Poncela, Spain's State Secretary for Commerce, made the remarks at the Business Opportunities for Spanish Companies under the Belt and Road Initiative Forum in Madrid. She said bilateral cooperation should encompass such areas as infrastructure connectivity, trade facilitation, as well as investment and finance. Poncela said the Belt and Road Initiative connects almost 60% of the world's population and offers enormous opportunities. To help, she said that Spain would make all the tools of the State Secretariat for Commerce available for the initiative. Spain is currently connected to the east through the China-Europe freight route, but Poncela said she would like to see more connections made.
No solamente queremos que exista esta conectividad terrestre a través de los corredores ferroviarios.
We do not only want to have a land connection through railway, but also a maritime connection. And we want maritime connection between China and Europe to end in Spain, in our ports Barcelona, Valencia, and all of our ports in the Mediterranean or even beyond in our country.
Mediterráneo o incluso más allá del Mediterráneo en nuestro país.
Vice President of the Spanish Confederation of Business Organizations said the network serves as a great opportunity to integrate Asian markets and promote the economic development of China and the EU. In this sense, it is important that the EU and China boost negotiations towards reaching an agreement on investments that put at the same level the conditions to access our respective markets. He also said that the initiative had aroused a lot of interest among businesses in Spain due to the ambition and magnitude of its plans.
Brazilian and Chinese officials have teamed up to launch a joint Brazil-China investment promotion fund to help boost production capacity.
The new scheme was launched at this week's 2017 Brazil Investment Forum taking place in Sao Paulo. The fund, now in operation, will have an initial sum of $20 million to finance investment projects in Brazil that are of interest to both countries. At a ceremony, Chinese ambassador to Brazil, Li Jingzhan, said the fund is a result of a long-running joint effort and helps to reaffirm the two countries' strategic bilateral ties.
The fund reflects a higher level of cooperation for both countries, as well as cooperation between China and Latin America. It will create a new model of financial cooperation. In the early years, we started from commerce, then investment. Now, we need to emphasize on the role of finance.
Li said the fund is to serve as a mechanism to promote investment by bringing the public and private sectors of the countries together to invest in projects in infrastructure, manufacturing, agribusiness, and technology.
As soon as the fund is established, both sides will be committed to various areas of cooperation under the agreement, including infrastructure, energy sources, equipment manufacturing, agriculture, and mining. It is a new type of cooperation in Latin America. Both sides will fund together, manage together, discuss together, and make decisions together.
According to the agreement, for every dollar put up by Brazil's financing sources, China will put up 3, with the initial $20 billion, including $5 billion from Brazil and $15 billion from China. Oliveira said the innovative mechanism is the first of its type in Latin America and Brazil becomes the first country in the region to participate in a fund that is jointly governed by China. China and Brazil established a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2012, 3 years after China became Brazil's leading trading partner.
While renting luxury items has become commonplace in Western countries, the model is still developing in China. MS Paris, a Chinese online luxury renting company, has now started gaining popularity across the country.
Many women know how it is. A wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear. Miss Paris, located in Shanghai Bund, is trying to offer women a more economic way to be fashionable. It sends buyers to New York's Fifth Avenue and fashion shows in Paris on behalf of their clients. Customers can then choose from more than 100 European and American brands, within a price range of $300 and $1,000.
We have 50 to 60 offers per day in the peak season.
By paying online, you can rent clothes from anywhere for no extra fee. The company provides next-day delivery to China's first-tier cities. The cost of Miss Paris membership card is 518 yuan per month, or 3,588 yuan per year. Each member has a maximum of 400 yuan a day to rent clothes, with no limitations on style, brands, prices, or numbers. Customers only pay extra if the price of the clothes goes over the daily limit.
The total renting price of the 2 dresses that she just picked is 719 yuan. That means she only has to pay 319 yuan for the extra. One costume is from Ralph Lauren and the other is from laundry. They normally would sell at about 3,000 to 5,000 yuan at couture.
Many traditional costume renting stores tend to have smaller clientele, meaning higher renting prices, especially for those expensive dresses. In contrast, thanks to the huge online market, Miss Paris dresses are more accessible. Over 80% of the renting prices for a single outfit are below 400 yuan, with a renting period of 3 days. For one, this is a very attractive bargain. What she could spend on just one well-known brand dress could cover the same expenses as renting for a whole year. And of course, Miss Paris offers much more choices. Wang works in finance in Shanghai. She needs a wardrobe to shine at every party and social event. The low price and great variety of Miss Paris meet her needs exactly.
I have the opportunity to try out every style of latest costumes so that I know what fits me best. If it fits me well, I will consider buying one. If not, I will just rent it once. Miss Paris gives me the chance to change my clothes as frequently as I want. And it also means that I do not need to own many clothes, but can just wear the clothes I want and turn to other styles when I get bored. This is such a good online service that costs little but offers more.
Miss Paris now owns over thousands of outfits from more than 100 top Western brands, most of which reflect the most up-to-date fashions of the current season in New York and Paris. After attracting a large number of customers through its costume renting service, Miss Paris is turning to everyday clothes, bags, and accessories to meet women's needs at different occasions. The service has spread to over 30 cities in China since it began in March 2015. However, the company also faces a lot of difficulties in running the business, namely inventory, delivery, quality guarantee, cleaning, and maintenance. Many people still have concerns over health and hygiene issues, as clothes are relatively private products, and those doubts will decide whether they will fully accept the new concept of renting.
We have established a cleaning and disinfection center to address the issue. All the clothes that customers return will be cleaned and disinfected there. The person in charge has the background of doing the same thing in a 5-star hotel in Shanghai, so that it is within strict control. If the costumes have damages or get really old, we will just replace them with new ones.
Renting luxury items is an established business in Western countries. Ms. Perez's American counterparts have used several methods to make the break, such as providing more items and functions. On Rent the Runway's website, members can post pictures of their rented clothes. That helps users see what the clothes look like on normal, non-model people.
Western companies have been doing the business for many years, and we learned a lot from some American companies. The service has barely entered the domestic market because in the past, Chinese women cared little about the quality or brand of their clothes. They knew nothing about international top brands. But it is totally a different picture right now. Women now focus more on the quality, and they show great interest in brands like MK or DVF. Furthermore, their appetite is getting bigger, and they are not only happy with a few dresses, they want more. And that is exactly why we are valuable in the market. We share the closet, and they get the benefit.
The luxury rental industry in China is still in its infancy, but the underlying technology and markets are already developed. As consumers grow accustomed to a sharing economy, luxury rental companies still face challenges in how to promote their services more effectively, build user bases, and decide whether they want to work with each other or compete.
The largest cruise ship in Asia and custom-built for Chinese market began its maiden voyage from East China's Qingdao city on Saturday. Norwegian Joy is capable of accommodating nearly 5,000 passengers and 1,900 crew members. A total of 28 restaurants on board offer international dining. A 2-level kart racing track, virtual reality games, and Broadway musical shows are provided for entertainment. Qingdao International Cruise Homeport has free exclusive berths for cruise ships, with a maximum customs clearance capacity of 3,000 to 4,000 people per hour. A spokesperson of Qingdao Port Group said a total of 171 ships with 300,000 passengers on board have been received so far. The port is currently operating 15 routes in cooperation with 7 cruise companies across the globe. Over 100 ships are expected to berth and depart the port in 2017. A Mexican zoo on Saturday received a special award from China for its conservation and care of pandas. China Report has more.
At the award ceremony at the pandas enclosure in Chapultepec Park in Mexico City, Chinese ambassador to Mexico, Zhou Xiaoqi, says the pandas are ambassadors of friendship that have joined China and Mexico for over 40 years. He says this event shows bilateral relations are better than ever, and Mexico is a strategic partner with political ties with China. The pandas enclosure now is home to Shuang and Xin, who will turn 30 and 27 later this year. Shuang's parents were one of the most prolific breeding panda pairs in captivity, having given birth to 7 cubs. The average lifespan of pandas in the wild is 15 years, while those in captivity enjoy a much longer life due to better nutrition and living conditions. Besides eating 15 kilograms of bamboo, Shuang and Xin are also served special food every day, including a dish of Missouri animal feed, fiber, cooked rice, apples, and carrots.
Turning to India, Chinese language classes are gaining popularity in India, and the best students are from the business community.
23-year-old Agnel Joseph runs a business of machine bearings, which started by his father long back. Today, when his father resides in China's Hangzhou, doing purchase for the business, Agnel takes care of operations in India. Agnell's father wants him to learn Chinese as his most vendors are based in China.
We deal with Chinese manufacturers on a regular basis, so it's an actual requirement for us to be able to communicate with them. For business, there's a large scope because India is already dealing with China since quite a considerable amount of time. So this will, by learning languages such as Chinese, it will strengthen the ties between the two countries.
Business interactions between India and China has grown many-fold over the past decade, and so has the craze among Indians to learn Chinese language. It has also fueled the classes to learn Chinese across India, like this one, Ye China in Mumbai.
The class has become a success in business circle in India's financial center, Mumbai. Usha Sahu finds herself among those lucky ones as she established the class.
When we started, so we observed that more hobby linguists and people who want to pursue it as a hobby are learning Chinese, or children learning Chinese. But gradually from last 3 years, we observed that many people from working background or from companies or running their own family business in China are more keen to join and learn Chinese. I think the India-China relationship is so open that every restaurant we visit, every place we visit, you find a Chinese person. Yes. Have a new friend. Yes. They will also teach you.
Sahu said it was her husband's idea to go for Chinese vis-a-vis other more popular European languages. Her husband had foresighted Chinese as the language of future. From just 4 students in 2010, there are 30 classes running in all big cities across India under her brand Ye China. The success formula for her classes is customized to Chinese language courses, especially for corporate business people and traders, as they can choose flexible timings. Besides, Chinese language classes in India are catching the eyes of college and school graduates as well.
I was looking forward for translation and interpretation, that kind of stuff. So that's why I took Chinese. So that's why I started almost 2 years back. I have completed level 3. And after my BA, I am planning to go to China for a scholarship to learn more about the language. So I'm just looking forward for it.
On a trip to the US, I met a lot of Chinese people who are traveling with us, and I spoke a few words like hello, thank you with them. And then their response kind of encouraged me even more. And then I decided I would take it up more seriously so that I could actually have a conversation.
China's trade with India has now crossed $70 billion from just $2 billion in 2000, making China the biggest trade partner of India.
同心地产，芝加哥最大的华人中介团队，无论是家居或是商业地产，给你带来全方位的最佳服务。